Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Minnesota State University Mankato Maverick Esports. My name is Zojalix, and joined with me is the wonderful, I gotta make sure I get the right side here. Todd, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderfully today. I am excited to see, at least from my knowledge, this is the first of our League of Legends purple team. This is their first NACE match tonight. I am super excited to see how this new roster of players, a combination of both teams from last semester, have fused together. I have heard that they have been performing in CLOL, so I'm excited to see how that progress is going to lead into tonight's match against the University of Jamestown.
That is going to be a really cool matchup. I'm really excited. And also, one thing with this semester as well, we have a completely new set of patches as a brand new season has hit the Rift here with League of Legends. I was doing a little bit of homework before the stream and I learned quite a bit. We're going to be seeing a brand new epic monster hitting the Rift, as well as some other changes that are going to be happening to feature the first themed season in League of Legends called Welcome to Noxus. And I cannot wait to see how these teams are going to be playing it out with the new epic monster, all of the other changes, plus the Rift looks absolutely beautiful on this new season patch.
Yeah, it's very exciting, both personally as a player, but also as a spectator and caster of League of Legends. This is one of the most exciting seasons they have released. I mean, calling back to season 14, focusing on all of the different aspects of the Void, whether it be the Void Grubs, which in my opinion is one of
Mhm.
the best additions that League has put into the game. It has made the early game objectives so much more complex than, oh, our team needs to go focus the dragon. It's 5 minutes, dragon spawn. Let's all be bot lane into a very important top lane objective that helps take these towers. And now we're going a step further. The blood roses that spawn across the map, in my opinion, are super, super strong. And so I'm really excited to see today how both teams are going to capitalize and try to play around that, as well as the ever-changing Otacon, the new monster that spawns at 20 minutes either in the top or bottom lane, depending on which has seen more action. It has made so many impactful moments. It's going to be so exciting to see how these team fights are going to unravel. There's a lot that is going on with Otacon, and hopefully we'll be able to see within 2 to 3 matches tonight both of the forms and how they can impact these high intense, very competitive matches here with NACE League of Legends.
Absolutely. And I think it is going to be really interesting too, as we've seen, whenever there are any big changes in a League of Legends patch, there's always major shifts in the meta. Always these things, the meta always gets like flipped, turned upside down. So in comparison to last semester where we saw a lot of I can't remember the name of that champion, but it was the little tiny dragon. My brain is completely farting on that. But we saw that champion everywhere last semester. Is he still going to be a big player this season?
I mean, at least from what I've heard, Hawkeye or ADC here tonight is a very big fan of scaling ADCs, and as we all know, Smolder is one of the best at scaling with the passive being able to keep on stacking until you hit 225 before you get a mini Elder Dragon buff. Smolder is a very strong and scary character. He might not have the most amount of prevalence in solo queue, but in a full team setting, in a full 5v5 where you have communication, you have a lot more time to scale up, which I think that Smolder is still a very strong champion, even if his win rate does not show that. And so I'm hoping maybe we'll see a game of Smolder tonight. But I've kind of gotten a rundown from our players. And so probably as more of a scaling bot lane, we might see a Jinx, we might see a Caitlyn, we might see an Ezreal. I've heard that Lethal Temple Ezreal is a really fun build, especially in against a lot of melee characters. And as one thing I know about NACE is a lot of teams heavily prio playing 2 to 3 tanks, and especially in a meta that is so rewarding to building tank items, your Unending Despair, your Heartsteel, your Fimbulwinter. These items are so overpowered. They have been trying, Riot Games, patch after patch has been trying to nerf tanks. But this patch, still, they are so incredibly strong. So I think playing characters that can have a lot of anti-tank potential, your Jinx, maybe not as much of your Ezreal, but with this lethal tempo build and building maybe Sereldia, some pen, you're going to be able to deal with the tanks, and then that we are going to see so common top lane, jungle, support. from either side, we're probably going to be seeing some front-to-back team fight. And I am very excited to kind of see what the ADC position is going to do, is this role that is supposed to deal with tankier characters. I'm very excited to see what Hawkeye is going to be able to pull off today, as well as just how the rest of our match ends up going.
It is going to be a phenomenal match tonight. We have our team going up against the University of Jamestown. We're going to be getting into the draft for map number 1 here very, very quickly. But before we do that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. You can see them all down below. We have Spectrum Industries, Fat Cap, Rockstar Energy Drink, Gravity Gaming, all incredible sponsors of the Maverick Esports program. So thank you guys so much for being here and supporting all of these wonderful students in everything that they do. But before we get into the draft, we're going to go to a quick break here, ladies and gentlemen. And when we come back, it will be map number 1, Minnesota State University Mankato versus University of Jamestown. Don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back right after this.
We're students at Minnesota State Mankato, and we had a big idea. Turn our love of gaming into a varsity esports team. In our first year, we earned a national championship and created a fun and friendly community. Be a Maverick. Learn more at mnsu.edu.
Sports without the physical activity. That's kind of how I explain it.
It's just like regular sports, but behind a computer.
I love the idea of esports. I think this has potential to grow and to engage a lot of students.
Gaming with my parents, it did not go over well in the beginning. They saw it more as a distraction from school or from actual sports. It wasn't really until this Mankato esports program came up that they were like, oh wow, this is an actual official thing that schools do. They kind of decided like, okay, let's take this seriously, let's support them.
We would hope every student finds something that they are passionate about, that will engage them, put them in community with other students, and let them do things that help them create what it is they want to have for their education.
We're students at Minnesota State Mankato, and we had a big idea. Turn our love of gaming into a varsity esports team. In our first year, we earned a national championship and created a fun and friendly community. Be a Maverick. Learn more at mnsu.edu.
Draft here very, very soon. So, we're back here with League of Legends, Minnesota State University Mankato versus University of Jamestown. Todd, go ahead and tell me what are some of the champions we're going to be expecting here as the draft is going to be getting started literally any second now.
Okay, so at least from my research, going to be prioritizing a lot of engaged characters, characters that are able to play frontline very efficiently. So in the jungle, probably going to be expecting an Amumu or a Sejuani pick. very classic characters. Although I do know that Oni the jungler has both a Fiddlesticks and a Nocturne in their back pocket. So depending on what team comps are looking like, if we're really needing some AP damage, I definitely think that the Fiddlesticks could be a great pick. I think it's one of their most played characters. So they've got a lot of experience on the champion. Mid lane, any sort of classic AP character, a very flexible player, Sashake, playing Ari, Oriana, Silas, is very flexible, probably going to be seen in the draft towards the end in order to try to have a counter matchup. Same thing with top lane, maybe a little bit more focused on bruisers, but depending on what champ is available, we'll just have to wait and see. It looks like Maverick has opted for a Vi and Hui ban, both very strong characters right now, as it looks like Jamestown is banning the Warwick top, Stardust, one of Stardust's best top laners, the Mordekaiser and the Victor. So some surprises there, but all strong characters in my opinion. As it looks like Jamestown is opting to pick Mel. Mel, this is the first week of NACE that Mel is actually available in. According to NACE rules, after a character is released, they have a 2-week window where they are not able to be picked in games. But as of today, I think it has been 19 days since the champion was released. And oh boy, is she strong. She, I think, upon release, is one of the only champions ever to reach a 50% win rate. She is incredibly strong and incredibly easy to learn, but she's also incredibly exciting to watch.
That is very exciting. I'm very happy to hear. Like, I mean, no surprise that a new champion comes out and they're immediately like super busted. I feel like that is just always how it goes whenever any new champion gets released. But to have one as powerful as Mel with a 50% win rate right off the bat, that is absolutely unheard of. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised she slipped through the first rounds of bans knowing that she's that strong, but maybe they just didn't expect her to be like, well, I guess the players to be like well acquainted with her, or maybe Maverick Esports are just like, you know what, it doesn't matter. Play all the Mel you want. We got her. We have no fear whatsoever. And that would just be an epic power move to be seen coming out of Maverick Esports.
Yeah, hoping it's a power move, a very strong character. Maybe, depending on how well it's played, maybe a consideration for a ban over in Game 2. But regardless, I'm excited to see how the character plays. I think a combination of both the character being very new and also players not having enough experience on her, I think is going to be the primary thing that lets her slip through these cracks. I don't know if it's going to try to be blue side first pick over on the side of the Mavericks. But we'll just have to wait and see and check out what the rest of the draft is looking like.
Yeah, absolutely. If we get the draft back on screen, we can see here on the side of Maverick Esports, we've got Amumu and Jinx and Silas getting picked up. I am so happy whenever I see a Jinx getting played in a game. I started off way back in like 2015. I was a Jinx one trick, so I've always just had a huge soft spot for her. So love to see that. I'd love to see the combination with Amumu and the Silas as well. And then we look on the side of Jamestown where we're seeing the Corki getting picked up and the Braum. So they might be having their mid lane or their ADC picked up through Corki, and then Braum moving into that support position. On the bottom, on their second round of bans, we have Rel and Ashante getting banned out for on the side of Maverick Esports. And then they're going to close out their bans with Ornn, a very, very strong champion. Very happy. Not too surprising to see Ornn getting banned out, as Ornn last semester was a huge key player in multiple different fights. So to be able to see him getting banned, you know, again, not too surprising. But I'm curious to see what kind of comps these two teams are going to be looking at building with the champions that we've already seen so far.
At least from my understanding, I think Maverick Esports is going to try and play for a very traditional engage comp. You have the Amumu bandage toss, you have the Silas E in order to give you the dash and the chain in, and we just see the Alistar here, another champion with the point and click dash W to try to go for a WQ knockup to get these engages started. I really like the picks from Maverick. And then over on the side of Jamestown, opting for a very heavy peel-focused comp. You have Braum and Urgot that can play in these front lines, and you have Corki and Mel that can throw a lot of spells and kind of poke out deal a lot of damage to the frontliners over on the side of Maverick. As well as I really like the Urgot pick here from Jamestown, picking away Stardust's Urgot, as well as banning their Warwick and a potential Malphite. I really like the bans and picks over from the Jamestown side, and we're going to see their last champion is going to be Viego. So lacking maybe a little bit on the ability power side. Having the Mel there, though, to close that out, I think that this is a very strong draft coming from Jamestown, but I also I'm really impressed by the Maverick draft. We're going to see what champion is going to close out their final pick here. I'm hoping it's a tank top. Try to make it so the Urgot can only farm in lane and not try to play a more risky bruiser versus bruiser matchup, as well as something that can maybe engage. Banning the Cassante and the Ornn is going to kind of help to not make those possible picks over on the side of Jamestown. But it looks like Camille is going to be the champion for Stardust here. Very exciting picks. What are your thoughts on the overall draft? What team is looking ahead here currently?
I think looking at this draft, I'm gonna, keeping my bias aside, shout outs to Maverick Esports. I really like the draft that they were able to be pulling out. The Engage comp coming in so strong, the WQ combination with the Alistar to be able to get a lot of Engage in that bot lane combined with Jinx's E. The amount of games that I've played with a really fun Alistar support where they QW or WQ right into the traps to just snare them and get insta kills bot lane, especially with that new Epic Beast being a huge play. The more engaged, the more kills that they can get early, the easier it is going to be to capitalize on that stronger buffs with that new monster. And so I think that the engage comp is going to really help. However, at the same time, Jamestown actually does have a pretty solid counter for it, but I think one of the things that is going to be absolutely imperative for them is being able to make sure that they're able to maintain that peel. But with champions like Camille and Alistar able to chain like the Hextech Ultimatum on top of everything else that Alistar has and all of the CC that Jinx can have with her zap and her snares, it is going to be a little bit difficult to peel that away. But I do think that, honestly, it's kind of a coin toss, but with the way that the meta is shifting this season, I have to go for its Maverick Esports.
I would have to agree there as well. I think both comps are very well drafted. I think the one problem for Jamestown is going to be how they are picking their targets. Mel has a in combat, quote unquote, infinitely stacking execute. So if they are able to work in tandem with their Corki ADC, if they are able to work together with their Urgot, they're going to be able to burst down targets very quickly. But everyone is going to be focusing on the same exact person. So I think that is kind of the difficulty with the Jamestown comp, but I think overall it has a lot of safety with Urgot frontline, not only working as that, but also Fear Beyond Death. Urgot's ult being a long range execute is going to pair very nicely with the Corki and the Mel. So I think a very good pick there. But I think the Camille and all of the other picks, the Alistar over on the side of the Mavericks, I think they're very well picked. And playing against Mel, her W ability is a true damage invulnerability. So kind of like a Pantheon E. It can reflect projectiles. So if a Jinx ult flies at the Mel can send that Jinx ult right back at the enemy team. So I think we're going to be looking out for some very flashy plays, maybe some W flashes coming in from the Mel. But it is something that Mavericks is going to have to be worried about.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely something that they're going to really have to pay attention to. The biggest, weakest point that I can see in the Mavericks draft is honestly going to be that Jinx. As much as I love Jinx, she is not a mobile champion at all. And so when you have champions like the Corki, like the Viego that are able to lock her down, that could be a huge problem as well too. Like you had mentioned, Urgot, the long range execute. If Jinx gets into even a remote bit of trouble, it is not going to be that hard for Urgot to just press R and send her right back to the fountain for a long way. So that is something that I'm a little bit nervous about for the side of Maverick Esports, but I think that with the combination that they have with the Hextech Ultimatum to be able to use not only as an engage tool, but also as as a we have to protect our ADC. I think that will be a really, really key ult. And I like what you were talking about with flashy plays, because I think this is going to be a very scrappy game. I think this is going to be a very high kill. And I think we're going to be looking for that Mel and that Camille. Those are the two champions on either side that I would definitely be keeping our eyes on as we get into the Rift here, because they are going to be such key factors both in the engage and in the disengage side of both teams.
I 100% agree. I think that Camille is a pivotal pick, able to be a frontliner, but also a major damage dealer, a character that can deal with these tanky threats, that likes to dive in on the backline, using her ultimate in order to make it much harder for them to escape, especially a Corki and a Mel that have such little mobility. I think it is an excellent pick. And I think, yeah, worrying about this Mel, I think it's a pick that shuts down the Jinx. Both the Braum and the Mel are able to help block and reduce her auto attack damage, so it is much harder for her to burst the front line, as well as being able to reflect the ultimate, I think is very scary. What I do think is scary for the Mel, and I think a reason why Amumu and Silas were picked so prevalently here, is that if an Amumu E hits a Mel, Mel dashes to the Amumu. So it's almost like your Amumu turns into a Blitzcrank. So Mel, their only option there is to dodge. Otherwise, they end up getting hooked. So you're not giving Amumu the engage, but it's like Amumu has two Blitzcrank hooks, which can be very scary for the side of Jamestown. But that is something that might happen during the match, and I'd be really excited to see, especially for me, no bias, but I would love to see the Mal just get absolutely hooked into the team. But I think we got a few minutes here before the match starts. Any more thoughts before our players get on the Rift?
I mean, overall, the biggest thing that I can say is that this is going to be an absolutely banger of a match. It's so exciting to see a new, like you had talked about, a combination of the two teams from last semester coming together now, working together. They've been essentially playing together already for a whole semester, and now they get to see the best of both worlds come out and show their stuff here against the University of Jamestown. So we're going to be setting up for the spectator delay here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be going once again to a brief break while the spectator delay gets in. But once we get back in, we'll be loaded right back into the Rift for the debut of NACE with our League of Legends team here with Minnesota State University Mankato. So don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back. And joke's on you, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need a timer because we're loaded back into the Rift. We are here. The Rift is live. And oh my goodness, it is a spooky one. We are here in Noxus. The match is beginning between Minnesota State University Mankato and the University of Jamestown. You can see just some beautiful layouts here, as we can already see some poke happening. Not a lot to be seen too much early on. Obviously, I can't imagine too many teams would be wanting to go for some crazy level 1, but we actually might be seeing some shenanigans down here in the bot lane.
Yeah, Corki and Braum have a very lethal level 1. If Braum is able to hit their Q here, and they're waiting for the perfect time to try to get the hit onto Jinx here, as Braum is going to walk up and get delayed there. Tries to get the auto attack and the Q off. The stun is going to go onto the Alistar. Lots of damage coming out from the Gatling gun there on Corki. Alistar has to flash, and Corki goes for the kill, and Braum is able to secure it with a level 1 Ignite.
The first blood comes out, and immediately right there, University of Jamestown are finding some success. They're actually going to be looking for more. Hawkeye is going to be put dangerously low. Amumu is going to be put very much on his back foot. He's going to be forced to flash away. And at the same time, in the mid lane, more fights are going to be happening. Amumu escapes with his life. And wow, University of Jamestown are already out to a explosive start. But at the same time, Silas is going to be looking to get a trade. That will be the trade over 1-for-1. That's now 1 kill apiece on both sides of the teams, but we are looking like we have a slight gold lead in favor of University of Jamestown since they did get that first blood gold. But immediately right there, that positioning from the Corki and the Braum down in the bot lane to secure so much damage right off the bat. Unfortunately, this is going to be a huge hurt for Hawkeye, as he also is going to be facing a 10 CS deficit, as well as the assist that went over to Braum.
Yeah, a pretty tough spot to be in if you're Hawkeye here, but looking to try and scale, I think that is for the better. And Corki not able to secure the kill there. The last tick of the Ignite is going to give the gold over to Braum. Corki is just going to have to opt for a Tear of the Goddess. So I think, at least on the side of MNSU, I think still in a very good position here. Double control ward buys over on the side of MNSU bot lane. Both Hawkeye and Atreus buying them, not wanting to get killed in that fashion again. And top lane is looking like it's going pretty well here. A slow push going into the Camille, but Stardust has that health advantage here, so I think it's going to be in a very good spot. Both junglers are playing towards top side here, so probably a pretty relaxed game in both of the other lanes, but should be seeing a 2v2 scuffle here in the top lane shortly.
Immediately, we can see the bot lane getting pushed out in favor of Maverick Esports, and just like that, Hawkeye is already looking at evening up that CS deficit. He doesn't have a major deficit right now, but being that it was 13-1 right shortly after he had to back, that does help a lot. But Braum is now here, immediately going to be getting some pokes. The shot does not come through, so again, forced to back away. The Alistar is going to be getting the stuns out. The fight will be breaking out. The W comes out. A lot of damage going out of Braum. Alistar will be taking the bulk of it as well. And MNSU will be forced to back away. But up on the top side, we have Stardust Plasma going in on the Urgot. But unfortunately, Viego is there. Urgot flashes out, and Stardust Plasma is in a dangerous position. And the game is stuck.
Seems like our game is stuck on the 4-minute 30-second mark. Hopefully, bear with the technical difficulties. We should be back on the Rift any second. Now, what are your thoughts in the first few explosive minutes of this match?
I mean, it's going like exactly how we predicted. We figured it was going to be a scrappy matchup. I was a little bit shocked to see the scrappiness going in favor of Jamestown right away, but at the same time, you saw the power of that Braum coming out, the shield being able to soak up so much of that Jinx's auto attack damage, and Corki was able to just sit in the back line, firing off those bombs, continuing to get so many pokes out, and just not allowing Hawkeye to be able to do anything on that Jinx, made for a very strong level 1 first blood, which I was not expecting to see. But I gotta say, as a spectator, I am certainly not complaining.
Yeah, I think the difference in running a Conqueror on Corki, I think, is very important there. Normally, it's either a Conqueror setup or you run Hail of Blades for the 60% attack speed bonus in your first 3 autos, and it works really well with a character like Braum. Where you get your first stack on someone, and then Corki gets 3 quick autos to complete the second, third, and fourth stack, dealing an extra bit of max health damage to the target from the Braum passive, but also getting that stun. But I think in that scenario specifically, Conqueror was able to output more damage because they were able to get the stun, the ignite, and a little bit of extra damage onto their target. And the AD just kept increasing for Corki, as well as the Gatling gun armor and magic penetration, or as I should say, shred, was able to do a lot of damage to a level 1 target, as their armor and magic resist values are much lower than their higher level values. So I think we were able to see a ton, so much damage go out there onto both bot laners on the side of MNSU. So it's definitely something that's very scary, but now the coast is primarily clear. So I think for Mavericks, definitely not too bad of a spot, especially since they moved the Feats of Strength First Blood to the team to get 3 kills to try and go for the upgraded boots.
And one of the things too, right, is the game started to have its issues. We saw Stardust Plasma immediately making some moves onto that Urgot up in the top lane and was getting so much damage out while the push was favoring that Urgot. Camille does have so much ability to be able to just keep stacking out damage and keeping that Urgot pinned down. So that way, if Camille does find opportunities to be able to get attacks off, then they can just zip right in there and start immediately doing damage and not let Urgot give any opportunity to sit back and farm for that first little bit. So Camille can just keep that bullying up. We can see a lot of gold going into Stardust Plasma, and that could be a huge problem for Jamestown if they don't find a way to lock her down.
Yeah, I think that Jamestown is going to try to find ways to get the advantage in the early game to try to snowball their lead, because the inevitability of a level 18 Jinx, a full build Jinx, is going to be very terrifying for them. And I think with kind of the rest of the comp, you have a Mumu and you have Silas and Camille, these threats that can get onto your very fragile and very not mobile backline, I think is going to be a bit of a challenge for Jamestown. But I think with their early game lead, they are still in a position where this is 100% could go in their favor, but it's just going to depend on how well objective priority is bot lane going to rotate up to try and capitalize on these grubs. How much of a benefit is both teams going to receive or maybe not receive if they don't get the upgraded boots? So only time will tell on those specifics. But I mean, overall, we haven't seen too much come from the mid lane. We did see Sashake get a very nice kill with a flash auto onto the Mel to close it off. Was getting into the dangerously low territory on Silas, but being able to get the healing on Silas W based on Silas's missing health is definitely something that works very well into the Mel matchup, a character who is often seen as a lane bully, and Silas outright winning the level 2 or level 3 fight there in the mid lane was very telling of how that mid lane matchup is going to go.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be something, you called Mel the big lane bully, and I think Silas with that health regen on that W becomes the anti-lane bully, is able to just survive and take all of that abuse from Mel, and I think that is going to be something that will be absolutely imperative for MSU to continue to stack on and be able to rely on, and especially now with that solo kill that gets to go over onto that Silas, that now makes Silas an even bigger threat against Mel. So even though Mel would have still a lot of strong attack power, getting that early lead should hopefully allow for Silas to continue then to snowball, and then if they can shut that Mel down early, then her 50% win rate means nothing because she's getting shut down early on by the anti-lane bully.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very exciting to see exactly what that laning phase is going to turn out to be. But I think very Silas focused, and probably something that we might see game 2 is if there is a Mel pick, maybe picking a character like Silas, a character like Aurelian Soul that can kind of deal with her like lane abuse and poking and turn it into kind of an all-in. So some characters that have that strong all-in potential, because as scary as that infinitely stacking execute might be, at early levels, it is very low. And if you're not able to cycle enough abilities, characters can often abuse that. And Aurelian Soul is another one of those characters. So it'll be interesting to see in game 2 if Mel is picked again and what teams can do to play against it.
Yeah, it'll be certainly interesting. So from what we're hearing, it looks like the game is still going to be frozen. So we're going to be going to another brief break here while we work this out. I think I might have just heard something from Prod. I don't know what I heard, but I heard something. Oh, we're back in the game. Look at that. Right as I thought all hope was lost, our production team comes out. Very happy to see that. And oh my days, do we have a game on our hands. Currently looking through as we catch ourselves up. Urgot has managed to pick himself up a kill. Viego is going to be up at 1-0-2. And Corky has been farming. He's got 2 kills and 1 assist, so that Corky is getting a pretty decent sized lead, as we are currently seeing Jamestown sitting at about a 2k gold lead, but the Hextech ultimatum is going to be coming out, and MSU is going to answer back as Amumu picked up a kill assisted by Stardust Plasma. A little bit more gold in the pocket, but Silas is going to be taking a lot of damage as well from, Alistar not quite able to get there in time. The fight is going to be coming out for the Void Grubs, and that's going to be a lot of damage. That's going to be Viego getting a kill. Get out of town, Camille, because you are in a scary situation. Camille forced to back away. They're going to be looking possibly for a dive, but they back away, do not get the kill. But a answer back from Jamestown, and they secure about a 2K gold lead as we come back from the technical difficulties.
Yeah, Jamestown getting that first dragon, now trying to secure all 3 Void Grubs. The Braum rotating up has been a very good success for them. Up 4 kills here, and we're just seeing the power of Corki holding E and just auto-attacking. Not able to hit the biggest rocket of the missile barrage there, but still able to output so much damage here. A Merc Treads already has been picked up for the Corki, knowing that they are going to be one of the high priority targets for all of that engage and all of that crowd control over on the side of Mavericks. So things are looking good over on the side of Jamestown, but not all hope is lost.
Oh, absolutely not. Even though it might be like, oh, we're 2,000 gold down, it might be over. But honestly, when it comes to League, we've seen some crazy comebacks happen. And honestly, a 2K gold lead is not even that crazy of a comeback that needs to happen. Maverick Esports just have to continue to play this game out. Like we talked about during the draft, we've got a lot of scaling champions. So the longer this game goes out, the more that this game will be favoring Maverick Esports. And one of the things too, we did see Silas now sitting at 2-2 and currently at a bit of a CS deficit, but being 1 kill up over that Mel. Already the Proto Belt is out for Silas to give that additional movement. We can even see the Dark Seal being built by Silas as well for some additional AP, and immediately we can see the power come in. The fight breaks out, the stun comes out, a lot of damage hits that Mel, and just like that, she's almost deleted. Don't even need the Amumu to finish it off. Another solo kill for Silas.
Yeah, and seeing the absolute strength of the Mavericks top side, both the Camille and the Silas in these 1v1s are incredibly strong. We've seen the 1v1 over on the Camille side, even though does not have a completed item. Stardust has been winning tons and tons of fights, dying the one time to the gank from the Viego, is sitting in a very good position here as we move over to a fight in the jungle.
When the flash comes out, Amumu is forced to back away, does stay alive. Flash is burned, so this will be a summoner advantage as we look here in the mid lane. Silas looking to get some more damage onto the Braum. Amumu rotating nearby. Alistar is there for the additional support. The poke is going to be coming in. Viego rotating in as well. And you can see Hawkeye making their way up the river. They might be looking to fight for this Mountain Drake here as Silas is going to be going in. A lot of damage goes down into Viego, but the stuns come out. The Braum ultimate is going to be found. Alistar gets brought dangerously low. So much damage is coming out though as Hawkeye finds himself back into the fight. University of Jamestown is scattered all over the place. Alistar is brought very, very low, but now the Corki has entered the fray. It doesn't matter. Hawkeye gets the snipe. Down goes Braum, and that's going to be a shutdown onto the Alistar, a shutdown onto Viego. Huge shutdown goal as Maverick Esports run away with this one. A 2 for 1 in favor of Maverick Esports.
Maverick Esports able to delay that third objective, the one last thing that would get the boots here, and we see Mal getting hooked in, but they are able to get the kill with the ultimate there. Definitely not what I was expecting in that fight, but they were able to pull it off. That invulnerability not able to give Silas any room to breathe here. And we see another kill coming out in the top side. Stardust able to make that kill onto the Urgot there with the wave crashing. A pretty good spot to be in if you are the Camille.
And you can see even just in these last couple of fights, despite the fact that they all came out mostly even, Maverick Esports manages to bring the gold lead now to be much, much more manageable. Jamestown has about a 600 gold lead, which is honestly a really nice spot to be in if you are Maverick Esports. You're not so far away. You have maybe half an item, if even that. But now the dragon fight is going to be here. You can see Alistar and Hawkeye are going to be hovering around, ready to fight on this dragon, and immediately the University of Jamestown are going to be backed away. The fight will be coming out for this. That's going to be Viego pushed way far away from his team. See you later, alligator. Down goes the ghosty, and there's going to be the Urgot going down. University of Jamestown are going to get absolutely torn away. Hawkeye picks up another one. The fight continues to break out. Silas chases down. Corki finds himself dead, and down goes the Mel. Down goes the fight. for 0 and ace for Maverick Esports and the Dragon.
What an electric team fight. Both top laners roaming down, a teleport coming out from Urgot here as a 5 kills, an ace over on the side of the Mavericks, being able to take all 5 of those kills, now turning that 2,000 gold lead into their advantage. We see 4, I count them, 4 shutdowns over on the side of the Mavericks. Jinx has time to auto-attack bot tower. All of the waves are in the favor here of the Mavericks. Things are looking up.
And just like that, the first turret goes down for University of Jamestown. The Mountain Drake is picked up, so now Maverick Esports are sitting at over a 3K gold lead just from a brief few minutes of fights, and they are definitely not going to be wanting to stop this push. You can see now the fight. Actually, it's not even going to really be a fight. University of Jamestown might try and contest to get the Rift Herald, but it's not even going to matter. Rift Herald goes over to Maverick Esports, and they're going to have the ability to push even further now that they have Shelly to be able to pop down whenever they're ready. The lanes continue to push in favor of Maverick Esports. CS deficits are getting absolutely shredded as Maverick Esports are taking over in this map.
Yeah, interesting to see here. Jinx is going back into the bot lane to try to stop the Corki from pushing that tower. This would be an excellent time maybe for a mid roam to do a bit of a lane swap. Silas would really appreciate that. We're going to see if it's just catching the wave here, or if they are deciding to eventually lane swap with that first tower gone, and now the first tower gone over on the side of the Jinx is going to be a much more volatile lane if they do decide to stay.
Oh no, that Corki, they don't know he's in the bush. Jinx is going to be spotted out, but they don't know Corki escaped into the bush, so that will be the recall successful for Corki. I thought maybe they might have seen him go in there, but that will not be the pick that I was hoping to see here. But on the top side, we can see immediately Stardust Plasma going back, and the Hextech ultimatum is going to be popped. Urgot is going to be brought very low. You're not going anywhere, buddy. Flash gets burned, and see you later, Stardust Plasma finds himself on a killing spree.
Bringing out the surprise party and surprise party of Mumu Oni, absolutely making this Camille Stardust stay in the top lane with a Rift Herald, that extra special surprise, getting so much towers and so much value here onto the top side, as Otacon is going to be spawned in and available in a minute and a half here, as Corki W is going to get canceled by the Alistar WQ, is going to have to try to flash here. Is Alistar going to get punished here as the Glacial Chasm comes out, flashes away from the Braum here, and it looks like not a lot has been taken here in this mid-fight besides some summoner spells.
The flash comes out to be huge, no deaths to be found, and once again, Silas finds the Mel. Mel getting a lot of damage, but you can just see the power of that Silas come out, distracting, finding another solo kill, and that's gonna put him on a killing spree. 6 in 3. University of Jamestown finds a Camille, but she's just so dang mobile. She's getting out of there very, very quickly. And Maverick Esports find a quick solo kill. Gold lead sitting at about 4,000. They're looking really, really strong as we get really close to that 20-minute mark.
I really love the reset here, 30 seconds before Otacon spawns. 3 of the 5 members of the Mavericks taking the recall here as we're seeing another engage. Alistar tries to go for the jump in. Braum is brought lower here, and I think that tempo match from the side of the Mavericks is going to prove pivotal in who is going to get Otacon here this game.
And Viego comes in to stop the kills happening, but the fight for Otacon will definitely be very, very key coming up here in the next few minutes. But looking down here at the feed, we can already see just so much power coming out of every single member of Maverick Esports. We have Hawkeye, who still has yet to fall yet in this game, which I think it just shows just how powerful of a player they are. They can just do so much damage, and now with all of these items getting built up through these 2 kills, it is just going to be a huge pivotal moment. And now Maverick Esports are looking to pick up Otacon up there in the top lane. You can see Jamestown trying to rotate there, but they do have Silas dealing with the Corki down in the mid lane. Corki will be backing away, and this is going to be Jamestown trying to maybe find something, but it isn't going to matter. Otacon goes to Maverick Esports with very little of a fight, but Maverick Esports, they're going to be looking for more. The Hextech Ultimatum is going to be coming out to find the Braum. Glacial Chasm is going to come out, but it does not matter. Braum is left all by his lonesome, but Alistar goes a little too far wide as the rest of the cavalry show up, and the attention turns over onto Urgot. Alistar keeping that going. Stardust Plasma is now on a rampage. Silas joins the fight down in the jungle, and Viego is brought dangerously low as well. So many health bars going low. Alistar jumps in there, is going to be getting the invulnerability buff from that Otacon being such a game changer. Nobody is going to be dying right now as Maverick Esports pull away. They can take a dive, take some kills, and continue their fight.
Yeah, and even though it is about a 12-second respawn period here for Mavericks, still the effectiveness of 5 Guardian Angels not donating those shutdowns has declined so much gold to Jamestown, and now up 4,000 gold and an incredible kill coming out over on to the Corki here. Everything is looking up for the Mavericks.
And it all came down to that one pivotal moment where they found that really strong fight back on that first Mountain Drake, and now Maverick Esports are able to pick up this Infernal. They're going to be getting more damage in their pocket, something that is going to be only making them a more terrifying force to be reckoned with. And honestly, Jamestown, as much power as they have through that melt, she's 2-5, so there's not really much that she can be doing right now, as she just has gotten absolutely shut down. The engage power is huge, and the game of protect the ADC that Maverick Esports have been needing to play is working out so well.
Yeah, and well, as we were talking about before, the Mavericks team comp is someone that wants to scale. The more time that is in this game, the better position that they are in. And with a 5,000 gold lead here, 4 shutdowns available, but there are going to be a bit of a challenge here for Jamestown to be able to try and collect. Things are heavily favored towards MNSU. A brazen and bold play is going to have to come out from Jamestown to try and collect these bounties, to try and collect some of the next objectives that are going to spawn. That it is going to be a very tall hill to climb.
Oh, and Camille pops the Hextech Ultimatum, trying to take out Viego. Will be able to pick up one, maybe. Oh no, Viego gets away. Urgot is going to get picked up, so that will be a huge shutdown of the Stardust Plasma, but on the mid side, that means the go button is triggered for Maverick Esports. They get a 1-for-1. They take out the Corki again. Alistar does fall, but they do get the mid turret, and Maverick Esports are going to be backing away. They've got that. They've got the few things that they need, but never mind. They're going to look for more. Viego gets jumped onto. They take the blue buff, and they back away. Maverick Esports managed to get their cake and eat it too.
A very difficult position for Stardust Plasma there, trying to make that engage while their little bit of buff is left from Otacon. And partway through the tower dive, the respawn went away, so giving a shutdown there over to Jamestown is definitely a bit of a difficult position, but the rest of the Mavericks followed up. They realized they had a numbers advantage in mid, and not only that, a gold advantage. They went to go and push the tower and to try and make the gold back, swing back into their favor, and they are still at a 5,000 gold lead here. So it is like nothing has changed, and yet a tower has fallen over on the side of Jamestown. So things are looking very good here.
Maverick Esports continuing to snowball their lead and continuing to maintain what they have. While the early game did look a little bit more favored towards Jamestown, Maverick Esports have just been finding everything that they need to keep this game rocking and rolling in their favor. We approach the 25-minute mark. Silas is going to be found by himself, but I don't think he's too scared right now. He's sitting at 8-3, so many items built, and he is going to be sitting very comfortably, but Viego is going to be popping in to help out. They might be looking for the pick here. The rest of Maverick Esports hovering around the bottom side. They know that Urgot is alone. Camille is not afraid of Urgot as much as they think he would be a terrifying feature. Stardust Plasma is able to jump in, just soak up a few turret shots, get a lot of damage off, and maybe even get the cruds to go along with it. But even still, Maverick Esports, they maintain so much power here. Now, at this point in the game, where do you think Maverick Esports is going to be looking towards playing for?
I 100% think it is going to be trying to get the siege here, as Alistar is going to go for the engage onto the Mel over on the wrong side of the tower, as the Super Mega Death Rocket is going to land, and Hawkeye is able to make the kill. Meanwhile, top side, a crazy fight coming in as the Glacial Chasm is going to try to find Oni, as lots and lots of damage is dealt, and Silas is able to save Oni there. Seshake showing exactly who he is. A 10-3 Silas with 25 Magi stacks.
And just like that, that's another ace for Maverick Esports, and that is going to be the Baron. And I don't know about you, Todd, but this is looking to be a very, very strong matchup for Maverick Esports. Right now, the Baron is going to be going down. You have Stardust Plasma pushing towards that bottom side inhib. They're going to be very quickly able to grab that turret and keep pushing. But the rest of Jamestown are going to be coming up, so now it's going to be time for Maverick Esports. Their eyes are going to be set on the mid side. The Baron is going to allow them to be breaking base here soon. 2 towers go down, and Maverick Esports extend their gold lead now to 10,000. They're looking so strong right now.
I am just expecting the Mavericks to take their reset, take all the gold that they can, walk to Dragon, get Soul Point, and at that point, just Deathball mid. They have the gold, they have the stats, they're able to make it. And meanwhile, they're still accruing so much value across the map, taking a top tower, getting another 700 gold in their pocket. We can see these shutdowns are massive over on Sashake, Hawkeye, and Oni here. So things are looking so strong for the Mavericks, but Jamestown still has room to recover. Once this Baron buff goes away, they're going to have a little bit more map control here, but I think this Dragon is going to go in the favor of the Mavericks.
Maverick Esports grabbing that second Infernal Drake, putting themselves on Soul Point is going to be a huge moment for them. This is the map control that Maverick Esports is looking for, and all they really need to do is, honestly, if they're able to win one more fight right now, they could pretty much push to the end. The only thing that Jamestown has left are those inhibitor turrets, and Camille going to be jumping onto that Urgot. Urgot is all alone. The Hextech ultimatum is going to come out. No matter how hard you try, Urgot, those scissor legs are way too powerful. Stardust Plasma picks up another one, 7-2 on that Camille. And Maverick Esports are looking to break the base. Down goes the mid inhib turret. The inhibitor will be falling shortly, and Jamestown are forced on their back foot. This could be the moment where it all falls apart for them. One inhib goes down, and Hawkeye is looking for more pain, more damage as more inhibs. The bottom inhib goes down while Camille continues to keep that top side alone. It continues to keep the damage flowing. The top side inhibitor is the last inhibitor. Viego did so much damage, and this is going to be it. Maverick Esports is looking for that final push. They just got to find the right moment to hit the go button, and this will be the game. All 3 inhibitors go down, and just like that, Maverick Esports have snowballed hard, but Jamestown might have found it. The QW comes in. Hawkeye is unstoppable. Finds so much damage. That's going to be the double kill. A lot of damage continues to come out. Hawkeye picks up 4, and Camille takes the penta, but Maverick Esports take game number 1.
That flash pulverize coming from Atreides there at the end, finding 4 as Hawkeye is able to make circles around this Nexus, taking so many towers there. What an incredible end to a match that was a little bit worrying there in the beginning, but Mavericks were able to turn it around with that play over on the second Dragon. That was an incredible performance from this team.
That was exactly what they needed. They found the perfect moment for that fight. They won the fight, took the Mountain Drake, and completely flipped the lead on its side. And just like that, Maverick Esports continued to snowball their lead. They didn't make any crazy mistakes. They didn't do anything where I'm like, what are you doing? They just stuck to the fundamentals. They worked together as a team. And one of the craziest things that I got to talk about that map is Hawkeye did not die. He had a completely deathless game on that Jinx. Even though they weren't the kill leader, the damage from that Jinx must have been absolutely astronomical, especially when they picked up that quadra kill right at the very end of the map.
Yeah, very impressive showing there from Hawkeye. I mean, all players had an incredible performance. Someone like Stardust, too, a main role jungle, is now in this top lane position, performing as well as they did. They were a super terrifying threat for the opponents to face. I am very impressed with that performance. And personally, I have experience playing against the jungler Oni, a very scary player, and I have seen so much improvement from watching this match. An amazing game on the Amumu, and all players. I mean, watching a bit of a tough start there for Atreides on the Alistar and watching exactly what they could do in the end, I was absolutely blown away from what I saw today.
It was just a great way to start. If you're Maverick Esports, you got to be feeling real good about that first game and feeling absolutely that high, that momentum, that adrenaline that comes in from a map win. I'm sure they're going to be feeling good. But just like that, the match is not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. We still are going to have at least one more map to be playing. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be getting into the draft for map number 2 here in just a little bit. We're going to go to a brief break, but when we come back, will Maverick Esports be looking to sweep this team away, or will Jamestown strike back to make it a series? Don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Minnesota State University Mankato versus University of Jamestown in a wonderful League of Legends match. We saw Maverick Esports take map number 1 in a very crazy fight. One fight around the dragon, flips the lead on its back, and Maverick Esports snowballs it all the way through to the end of the map. My name is Zojalix, and joined with me is the wonderful Taunt, a absolute legend in this League of Legends scene. Taunt, what a map number 1.
Yeah, an incredible performance from both sides. I mean, we saw some pretty scary early game there from the Jamestown, but once that initial second dragon fight happened and the ace came out for the Mavericks, they took that snowball and they just kept rolling it. fight after fight, objective after objective just went their way. And we saw an incredible team fight, and we're going to have to see an incredible response from Jamestown if they want to bring this to a game 3 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And now looking at, as we go back, kind of looking at the draft between the two teams, we saw Jamestown banning out a bunch of different champions, and we saw them prioritize that PO composition. Are there any champions that you could see them trying to turn around and banning as we go into map number 2?
Yeah, I think 100%. If they're looking to play the Silas or looking to play the Mel, I think the Silas has to go. I don't think that there is a lot of room for the Silas or even the Mumu if you're going to try to pick the Mel. So I think for at least for Jamestown might not be something that is super high priority. I think they were going into the game thinking, oh, this character is incredibly strong. Why wouldn't we try to pick her, right? It might be something that maybe Maverick has been playing a little bit. Maybe Shake has been queuing a bunch of Mel games. I think that's going to be something that maybe Jamestown tries to stay away from. If they are looking to pick it, I think that they're just going to have to try and get the Silas in the Amumu bans. And then otherwise, I mean, I don't know how they can let the Jinx go through. I mean, this is a team that wants to play for scaling. They are wanting to get to level 16, 17, 18. They want to get to the 40-minute mark. They want all of their items, and they are going to run down the game, not run it down, run down the game. And I think that Jamestown just has to try to find the character bans and the character picks that are going to prevent that. How can you get the early ganking junglers? How can you get the anti-engage characters, like maybe seeing a Poppy in response to the Alistar might have been a strong pick. I think Braum was very good that game, but I think taking characters that are such lethal threats against the picks of the Mavericks, I think is going to be the ideal draft strategy here for Jamestown. And for the Mavericks, just play with what works, right? We clearly saw last game that all of those champions for them worked. That play style, that engage front-to-back team fight is what's working. And it looks like pretty much the same bans across the board.
Yeah, I'm sure some of these bands are going to be coming out to be pretty standard. You've seen the Vi come out, the Victor and the Mordekaiser are going to be pretty quick bands. I'm not too surprised to see any of these bands come out. I would be really, really shocked if Jamestown did not try to answer and ban out that Silas, especially because the snowballing that came from the Silas came immediately from that solo kill pretty much right away at the start of the game. Once Shishaku was able to get that solo kill, it just allowed him to be able to continue to snowball throughout the rest of the game. And that became a huge winning point for when Maverick Esports were looking to turn the match around. So I would be very shocked to see the Silas make it through unless Jamestown doesn't want to play the Mel going into the second map.
Yeah, I think trying to pivot away from the Mel, I'm not exactly sure what mid laners are the comfort picks of the mid over on the side of Jamestown, but maybe staying away from the Mel character, saying, hey, we can maybe delay our Mel pick because it's something that can get counter pick, but is also a phenomenal counter pick. So maybe trying to open up the floor here. Maverick Esports is going to actually ban out the Mel in response to the Silas ban. I think that was a great decision from them. It eliminates both of those mid laners, so we're going to see an entirely new mid matchup here. And now Jamestown, they used their last ban to try and force out the Mel ban. So it was essentially a 2-ban game, and there's no repeat in the mid lane.
And now we're seeing, it looks like Jamestown was hovering that Kaisa here, which that is another champion that I have seen. I feel like the moment she was released, she just kind of showed up everywhere. It's very, very, it's not hard to go a game with, it's hard to go a game without seeing Kaisa at least once, but that's just because she has so many different ways that you can utilize her. She has so much ability to move around the map. She can do so much damage. And I think that if Jamestown looks to make a shift to more of a heavier engage comp, Kaisa might actually work out really, really well in their favor to be able to shift into that composition. But, you know, it'll be interesting to kind of see. Obviously, their draft is going to have to change quite drastically now with the Mel being banned away. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what direction they choose to go now that Mel is banned out. On the same side, Maverick Esports can't just, you know, run the Silas back and hope that it does the same exact thing because now Silas is banned away.
Yeah, I think that I actually really like the Kaisa pick here. Coming from the Jamestown side, it seems like they are wanting to turn the tables. They are wanting to pick the engaged characters, maybe to try to pick away that Alistar, maybe try to pick a Nautilus. And we see Jin and Fiddlesticks picked over here on the side of Mavericks. Jin is pretty notorious at being a little bit more difficult at dealing with tanks. Not having that attack speed makes it a bit harder for him to shred, but having a character like Fiddlesticks in the jungle, your primary source of AP, can do tons and tons of damage if not bursted down or spaced correctly. I think it is a really good pick. I'm a little curious about this Lux pick. I'm assuming it's going to be a Lux mid, and then they're going to wait for the support. Actually picking the Nautilus here, which in my opinion is the best support to pair with Kaisa. So they are preparing for any blind pick. And from my knowledge, Atreides is primarily an engaged support player. I think they play a little bit of Lulu, but I'm not sure if it would come out in the match here, but probably going to see the support pick coming in from the Mavericks.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you really want to see them kind of close out that bot lane. They have the Fiddlesticks, they have the Jhin. They really don't want to leave anything up to the imagination for Jamestown to try and ban anything away. And especially when you saw the Kaisa come out early, it was probably going to be pretty well. I mean, you had it predicted that the Nautilus was going to be coming out to go and pair alongside the Kaisa. So I think it really made a lot of sense to be able to see that happening. And now we can already tell kind of what direction Maverick Esports are going to be looking for. I'm very excited to see this Fiddlesticks. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a Fiddlesticks in a competitive match outside of like the meme stream dream team way back in the day. But I've always been a huge Fiddlesticks fan, and I think he is going to be a really cool shakeup. And we're seeing two very different comps from both teams, which is something I'm also really excited about because the two teams get a chance to flex some different muscles, show how they can change things up, and show that they aren't just limited to one composition.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what Mankato has in store for us, the Mavericks, and I'm excited to see the comp shift, treating this as more of a traditional engage comp, having a bit of a poke, or at least more of a securing mid laner, Lux being able to get those long range ultimates and deal a lot with zoning and being able to control a lot of space with the E and Q, and even the ultimate, I think is going to be good from their side. And then obviously picking Kaisa and Nautilus is really strong. I actually really would have liked to see, since they had the Jhin and the Fiddlesticks. It looks like Tom Kench has been picked over on the side of the Mavericks here. That was the last pick, and we're going into bans. But to finish that point, I actually would have really liked to see a Maokai support here. It fulfills a lot of that same Nautilus utility. It's got the point and click CC. It's got the big crowd controlling ultimate, but it has the saplings that you can throw in bushes to check for Fiddlesticks. It acts as extra wards. Maybe with like an Arcane Comet or a Leandries, you're able to kind of burn the Fiddlesticks and keep them in vision. I think that there's a lot of utility that could come from that, and maybe it's still something that could be picked in the top side since Maokai is a 3-role champion. But Jamestown is opting for a Belveth, and a Yone has been picked over on the side of Maverick Esports. What are your thoughts on that?
That's an interesting one. This is the Yone, I feel like, is a very different style champion for the rest of this comp. Like you had talked about, they got Maverick Esports, they got a kind of a heavy poke composition. Now they've got the Tom Kench out there to kind of aid to that. And they're able to just continue, like they're able to deal a lot of damage from back. And I feel like Yone is a huge engager. And so to kind of take that away is, I'm almost a little bit nervous about this Yone pick because of just how much of a different champion he is from the other three. But who knows? I could be proven wrong. We saw just a lot of crazy movements in the first game. And now we're seeing Belveth and Shen picked from Jamestown. And I think that I'm a fan of Shen. I've always loved Shen as a champion. I think he's kind of just like always really great at being able to provide additional support, and also as well as being able to soak up just so much damage. And honestly, you really just don't know what's going to be happening when you see a Shen come out. And now you've got Gwen on the side of Maverick Esports as well to finish that out. I'm not sure how I feel too much about either of these comps. I honestly, when it comes to the draft as a whole, now looking at these two teams, I genuinely don't know which one of these teams that I would favor, purely speaking draft wise.
I mean, there's a couple things to talk about here before I give my initial thoughts. I think the Belveth pick is a little tricky here for Jamestown. They're looking for a character that has a lot of AD, especially with Kaisa leaning more towards a hybrid build currently, with both building AD, attack speed, and AP. I think it's definitely good to get a high damage AD character in the jungle, but I definitely think something like a Jarvan would have maybe been a bit more appropriate for their engage comp. But I think the Shen pick is incredible. The Shen and Kaisa pairing makes it so that the Nautilus can turn from a peeling champion into an engaged character, as Kaisa can ult into the backline with a Shen ult on her. I would be excited to see if they can pull it off mid-game, and it kind of completely changes around the dynamic of what a team fight looks like, especially with so much shielding going on that Kaisa. I'm excited to see that, but I think that the picks from Mankato, I think especially the Gwen pick, being able to deal with a lot of the tankier threats, the Shen and the Nautilus over on the side of Jamestown. I think the Gwen is a great pick to end off this draft on, and I think even the Yone. I mean, two AD auto attack focus champions with the Jin and the Yone, I think, are really strong. And three auto attacking focus champs, Jin and Yone and the Gwen, are going to be really strong. And Gwen deals a lot with tanks, so they're going to be able to deal a lot of damage with that. And it is something that Sordust has played a lot in jungle, actually playing jungle Gwen back in semesters prior. So I'm excited to see how this skill translates into the top lane here. But I think both drafts are really solid. I think that it might be a little hard for the Fiddlesticks to find room to do damage, but Gwen being able to deal true damage means it's a lot less valuable for Jamestown to itemize magic resist this game.
Yeah, I definitely can see how that will all come into play. Overall, this is going to be, I think it's going to be another great game. I think it's going to still be quite different from, it's obviously going to be quite different from the game that we saw. I'm excited to see how Jamestown is going to be running with the engaged comp, given the situation that they are in right now. I think that they have an opportunity to maybe try and do the same thing that Maverick Esports did in game number 1, but obviously we won't know until we hit the Rift. And overall, I mean, again, we're seeing two completely different sets of champions. I don't think we aren't seeing a single champion from game number 1 reprising back in game number 2. So we're going to be seeing a very different game. I'm still anticipating this is going to be very scrappy, especially with what you were talking about with the Kaisa combining her own ultimate with the Shen ultimate combined into the support from Nautilus is only going to make Jamestown a pretty big threat. But at the same time, I think Maverick Esports have a lot of opportunities to be able to counter this, and I'm excited to see how they're going to be doing it here in this game.
Yeah, I'm also very excited to see the Tom Kench pick, because back in the day, also known as 2 months ago, I actually have played against Atreides and Oni back on their previous team, and this was one of the things that my team was initially scared of, was the Tom Kench pick. I think we banned it in most games that we played against them. So I'm excited to see how it performs today. We're not seeing it with something like a fasting Senna, but it's still, I'm very excited to see how tanky this Tom Kench can get, especially with the prevalence of Heartsteel and Unending Despair being such a good 2-item core. Not sure about Fimbulwinter on Tom Kench. I know your Q slows, but I just don't think it's super valuable item, especially when you already have so much shielding. But again, I'm excited to see what exactly they can pull off here.
Yes, and it is going to be a great matchup. But as we get ready for that spectator lane, get set up into the Rift, we're going to be going into another break here, ladies and gentlemen. We just finished off with an incredible draft, so put your votes in the chat room. I want to see who you guys are voting for. When we come back, we will be right back with more Maverick Esports versus University of Jamestown. Don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back. And we are back. We're getting into the rift here any second now as the players are loading in. And immediately, oh my goodness, we're getting right off to it. That's an immediate level 1 engage. Seeing Jin burn a few flashes right off the bat. No kills to be seen, but talk about getting going and just starting this match off with a bang.
Yeah, opting to go for a level 1 all in. All 5 members are making their way down bot, able to burn the Jin flash. Tom Kench taking a lot of the damage there. Jin is able to stay in lane, but for the first few minutes here, it's going to be a little volatile as we see Belveth starting on the bot side here. We might see a level 3 gank maybe before the Fiddlesticks can finish the full clear and get down into bot side here, but I mean, both Kaisa and Nautilus are just waiting, using this bush to see if both Hawkeye and Atreides are going to walk in here. But now the laning phase has started, and they got to go farm those creeps.
And now the farming moment is going to be very imperative for obviously the entire team as we see the early gold come out between the two teams. Now, the thing that I'm going to be paying attention to is looking at the fact that Hawkeye is already down a flash, so that's going to be a moment that Maverick Esports are going to have to be paying attention for. They're already down a summoner spell, and they really are not going to want to overdo it. And you can see Fire Critter on that Nautilus is already looking for those opportunities to be punishing, to be pushing Hawkeye out, not letting them get the CS. The hook is going to be coming out, just a small little trade. Nothing really to be seen from that too much, but we can already see the farm lead going in favor of Kaisa. And now we turn our attention over to the mid lane, and it's pretty well even off the board. Shishaku and Zach on that Lux are, they're doing their thing. They're farming up minions, not doing anything crazy. And as I say that, Yone is jumping in, getting a lot of damage off. That's going to be a huge chunk taken out of that Lux, but Lux is going to be forced to back away. And as I say that, basically about an even trade to come out. They could not really ask for too much more even between these two.
Like the invade is going to come in here from Oni as the Galacodile is going to be able to secure their blue buff here, not losing any camps, but now a giant scuffle has started. Belveth able to get their camp there as they're going to walk away. A fight about to start, but nothing comes of it. Nautilus is going to be forced to flash there from the Jin W as both sides now are missing one flash in the bot lane.
That flash burn for Maverick Esports is going to be a good point. Nautilus getting the hook back in onto Jin, but he's got nowhere too far to go. Tom Kench brought very, very low, does get knocked up, and the first blood is going to go to Jin, but Kaisa is going to be trading that away, might be looking to chase this one down. Hawkeye is going to be forced to back away. The shots are still coming out. The fourth shot finds mostly shield. More damage comes out. Kaisa runs away, but Fiddlesticks is going to be lurking nearby, might be looking for some additional damage down here on the bot side, might be looking to jump in on this. The flash is going to be coming out. The fear comes through. The silence is out. Kaisa has nowhere to go. Bing, bada, boom. Hawkeye takes him down, but immediately Jamestown are responding on the top side. They know where the Fiddlesticks is, and they can get a quick and easy kill onto the Gwen. Gwen is running all over the place, buying so much time, but does go down. Jamestown trades this one away. It is now 2 for 2. Kills remain even across the board.
A very well-played fight from both sides. I really loved the Jin W coming in over on the bot side, able to take that kill onto Kaisa. A great flash fear as well coming in from Oni. Fiddlesticks is not a champion that you expect to be in your lane so early. A level 3 Fiddlesticks in your lane means that something is brewing, but the creativity and a really strong gank coming in from Oni is able to allow Hawkeye to capitalize and get these kills. Already a serrated Dirk in his inventory, 33 CS this early into the game. Things are looking very good here for the Maverick spot lane.
Absolutely, and immediately too, we're seeing as one of the things too that is going to be absolutely massive on that bot side with Jin having 2 kills. That's a lot of gold in the pockets. You just talked about it. The serrated Dirk now in the pocket of that Jin, going to be adding a lot more damage, and it's going to make Jin very, very scary early on. And now we can see them spotting out in the bot lane. We could have Belveth wandering around near that dragon pit. And so Belveth might be looking for something around here, but at the same time, this Jin is not somebody anybody that I would want to be throwing down with this early in the game. But Belveth rotates up over towards that mid side. Fiddlesticks is nearby. And it right now just continuing to keep those creeps farmed out. We do see Kaisa, though, keeping the push in favor to get some of that little bit of early damage onto the turrets. Not too much, though. And now that the level 6s are starting to come out for these solo lanes, it is going to be imperative to see now how the Shen ultimate is going to begin to be used, as we can immediately see Jamestown looking for the dragon, but Maverick Esports are already there looking to counter this play. Belveth is going to be taking a lot of damage. Nautilus is going to get hooked. There is not a lot of help. The pop comes through. That's going to be one. Make it not two, as Hawkeye with a beautiful flash keeps himself alive. Oh my days, I did not think he was surviving that when Yone is now in there for the support. Sashake getting a lot of damage. That is going to be the kill onto the Nautilus. Hawkeye is on a killing spree, and the dragon will go to Maverick Esports. A 2-for-0 and a dragon for MSU.
Yeah, looking great for MSU there. Shake making that Fire Critters fate sealed. They're able to secure the Ocean Drag, the most important early game objective, in my opinion, and the best of the 6 different dragons here, giving so much sustain in lane. I think things are looking great here as we see a level 4 Tom Kench forcing that flash there from the Lux, getting them even more priority on these grubs. Things are looking really strong here on the side of the Mavericks.
We're already seeing a great start here, and they aren't even going to be hesitating to try and turn this one around. Yone immediately started to get more damage onto this Nautilus, forcing him to back away. Lux is going to be getting some damage off, but on the top side, we are once again seeing Gwen go up against that Shen. Shen tries to block as many autos as possible, but it doesn't quite find it. Blue team steals the Void Grubs as Lux ultimate blasts in. Huge moment there from Jamestown to find a little bit of a hole back into the game. They get the Void Grubs. Now they have that ability, but at the same time, the Maverick Esports finish off the last of the Void Grubs, and now not really much of a major shift there, but the one Lux ultimate does find at least a little bit of hope for Jamestown, and with that ultimate, it is on such a low cooldown that even this early in the game, Lux can basically fire it off whenever she wants with very little consequence.
Yeah, a great steal coming in from Zach there is going to delay the feats of strength this game. In order to get a stack of an epic monster slain, a team has to get all 3 of the Void Grubs. So by stealing that there, not able to get that, as the Nautilus hook is going to be stalled there, trying to hit the tongue lash, not able to find it onto the Nautilus there. He's going to have to walk away. Jin still at full health, and another fight is happening in the top side.
Oh my goodness, the fights happen all over the place. The Jin ultimate is going to be coming out. The teleporter is going to be coming up into the mid lane, up into the top lane as Yone makes his way up there. Hawkeye is going to be on a rampage, sniping out the Nautilus, and the TP is enough to scare away Jamestown, but Yone is going to be looking for the dive. They're possibly trying to bait this one out, but Fiddlesticks is in, and see ya Gators, the shot gets a double and another kill down on the bottom side. Hawkeye is already 5-0, Sashake is 3-0. These guys are already on a tear. A 3,000 gold lead for Maverick Esports.
What an incredible tower dive up in the top lane. The Crow Storm getting the feeder on both members, as well as the Fate Sealed finding its marks. An incredible engage coming out from Oni, and following it up, both Stardust and Sashake able to make it happen, and we are seeing a 5-0-1 Jin, 350 gold bounty. It is not even 10 minutes yet, and on this recall should be able to buy the collector here. We just see it being bought. Things are looking incredible with almost a 3,500 gold lead over on the side of the Mavericks.
This is exactly what you would be wanting to see if you are Maverick Esports for the start. Shen is jumping in on that Gwen. Gwen takes a lot of damage, but doesn't have a lot of fear, as they know the Fiddlesticks is nearby for that additional support. So they don't have to worry too much, but Gwen is going to be popping. The Ghost is going to be running away. Tom Kench running right into the face of the Belveth and the Nautilus. So that's going to be a lot of damage. Tom Kench forced to back away. Kaisa is nearby. Maverick Esports escape with their life. But Yone immediately looking for the return over onto the Lux. Some damage gets traded out, but the rest of the cavalry is coming in. And so Shashake is going to have to pull away to make sure that he stays alive. No deaths to be seen. A lot of damage back and forth. Maverick Esports, hold on.
Yeah, I mean, things are looking good here. The Tom Kench is going to try to go for the engage here, but Belveth is going to catch them. The Bouncy House has come to town, and Tratus is going to fall here just before Dragon spawns.
And that will be a huge key factor gone for Maverick Esports to give Jamestown a little bit more comfortability as they start to look for the Dragon. Gwen going to be looking for the recall. Nevermind, might be baiting that Shen out, but does still back away. And now the Tom Kench is going to be coming back. A little bit of gold to go back into the pockets of Jamestown, which I'm sure they definitely are a big fan of. But Yone getting a quick little turret plate here. The Crow Storm does pop out, but does not find anything, unfortunately. No engage to be seen. The Dragon is going to be the next point of contention here for Maverick Esports for this game. Possibly even the Rift Herald, as that is going to be getting spawned here in just a little bit as well. A lot of objectives to be paying attention to. Yone getting a lot of damage off onto that Lux, backs away, just finds a quick little bit of poke, and now the Dragon spawns.
Yeah, Dragon spawns over on the side of Jamestown here as Yone is trying to make the Fate unsealed. As the Fate is sealed for the Yone, the shutdown going over to the Belveth. That is a tough spot to be in. Jamestown has a ton of priority for this Dragon. Hopefully, Tom Kench will make it out with their life, but Atreides is in a bit of a tough spot.
That's so much damage. A beautiful flash, though, from Tom Kench. He's still on the run. Kaisa holding strong. Tom Kench is going to eat her up, get a lot of damage off, stalling a lot, but Jamestown does manage to find another kill, bringing the gold lead back just a little bit as they now have still a 2k gold deficit, but the Dragon will be pretty handily going over to Jamestown. They pick up their first Dragon of the game. But also, again, we still are looking at the Jin with 104 CS immediately, almost 13 minutes into the game. The Collector available. Yone has the Blade of the Ruined King purchased now, so that Yone is going to be an even scarier force, but it doesn't matter because Fiddlesticks is brought dangerously low. Fire is going to be getting their first kill of the map as the ult comes through to allow Shen to escape. The Void Grubs will be going over to Maverick Esports, but Jamestown are able to find at least something for their troubles.
I mean, an excellent crowd control chain going on to Oni, not giving them enough room to even press W to try to get some of their health back. But still, it did not even matter there, turning the fight into a 4 versus 3. And even with no numbers there, we're able to get a lot of value there, as it looks like the curtain call has come in for Kaisa. Will the show be over in the bot lane? We're not able to see it as we're watching the Gwen up here, as it looks like Kaisa is going to barely escape both barrier and flash having to be burned.
And a great way to stay alive for just a little bit, but again, there's this action happening all over the map. Belveth making the move again onto Gwen. Stardust Plasma in a dangerous spot. Up and around you go, and down they go. Stardust Plasma does get taken out, but on the bot side, we have a dive coming in, and Tom Kench gets a lot of damage. Jin manages to snag that last turret plate on the last possible second, and Yone is also going to be looking for the fight over onto Lux. A lot of damage comes through. The turret shot does come through as well, making this a little bit scary. Lux get very, very low. So is Yone, but nobody goes down. A lot of fights happening everywhere. Immediately, we can see Jin, so much power from this Collector being shown out, not allowing the opponents from Jamestown bot lane to do anything. And Maverick Esports, they continue to keep the push going in their favor. Oh!
Wow.
Just absolutely snipes Kaisa, taking him down, but Belveth is there for the cleanup, and the shutdown will go to Jamestown, and they're looking for more. They're going fishing. The Crow Storm is going to be coming out. It might not have been a good idea. Never mind. Fire Cutter is going down. Belveth is brought dangerously low. Lux is trying to get there to support, but Tom Kench gets away, and it comes in to be a huge fight, but Jamestown gets the shutdown gold.
Wow, I mean, Belveth going in there and getting yet another shutdown. I think that was a bonus 500 gold from that kill, getting about 800 gold into their pocket. This late game scaling character, playing almost with the playstyle of a Master Yi, but with so much more utility, 4 dashes, claiming both of the shutdowns. This is one of their carries. This isn't just like a normal jungler that looks for the invades here. I think that the gold on them is going to do wonders for Jamestown, but if crowd controlled and dealt with correctly, shouldn't be too much of a threat here for the Mavericks.
Ooh, and Belveth immediately turning to make another move up here in the top, not letting Gwen play the video game, but Gwen is going to at least try and get something. Stardust Plasma does take down Fire and actually is turning this around. Who says ganks? Who says not letting Gwen play the game? A 1v2 coming out for Stardust Plasma.
Wow, the power of the Riftmaker there, able to get a lot of those needles in on both targets. So just excellent positioning during the fight, having to deal with both members that have enough crowd control to deal with you, but using your dashes to make it out of there, as Kaisa is going to take so much damage trying to defend this tower from falling and donating the boots over to the side of the Mavericks.
And immediately more fights happening all over the place. Yone diving down into that Lux, does manage to get the kill. It takes a lot of turret damage, but manages to get out by the skin of their teeth. The turret goes down. Maverick Esports already have 2 turrets, and the Rift Herald is also going to be going down. But Belveth is going to be in there, and Jin says, oh no, I gotta go, as Tom Kench will pay for their life. But Hawkeye does stay alive and manages to escape. Doesn't find anything for it, but that's okay. Sometimes all you gotta do is just stay alive, and that's as good of a win as you can take.
Yeah, and I mean, Tradus being able to guide their attention back away over from the Jhin, not giving as much gold because obviously not having the kills, making sure that Hawkeye is able to stay well fed here. Is donating such little gold in order to save the Jhin from dying, especially before the dragon is about to spawn, should mean that the Mavericks have a very good time trying to get their second dragon here. As Kaisa is burst down lower and lower here, as we see the Crowstorm and the Curtain Call are coming in as they find 2 picks.
And the stopwatch comes out to keep Fiddlesticks alive, and Jhin just says, all right, I'm going to take you down. Jhin continuing to put more gold into his own pocket. That Collector coming in so clutch, allowing for Hawkeye to just continue to be a thorn in the side of Jamestown. He's got 7 kills so far, and Gwen is going to hop onto that Belveth, but Shen is going to be coming into there for the support. Gwen is going to back away, doesn't want to overstay their welcome, but the Mountain Drake is going to go over to Maverick Esports.
Yeah, another objective
Chemtech
into the side of Maverick, as Lux is going to get caught out here, is devoured by the Tom Kench into the trap. But we do see the teleport come in from Shen here as more and more fighting is going to happen. Gwen able to take the pick because the Lux died so quickly here, and this team fight is still going.
And it is just fights happening all over the place. Stardust Plasma does get a kill up on the top side. Atreides will go down. The Glockadile continues to be a threat. Hawkeye is in a dangerous position, but at the same time, it's just too strong. Oni-chan finds himself on a killing spree, finds another kill onto that Fiddlestick. Yone dashes away, and Maverick Esports runs away with this one, and they're looking to break the base as the inhibitor turret mixed with the Void Grubs is so much siege power for Maverick Esports. Gwen looking to get rid of that Kaisa, might have pushed out a little bit too far, decides to start running away, gets taunted by the Shen, so much damage comes out, avoids the Lux ultimate, but Belveth is there, and Gwen can just play Ring Around the Rose. He's doing so much. Stardust Plasma manages to still take one down, finally gets shut down, but this gives so much room for Maverick Esports to continue to push their gold lead even farther past the 8,000 mark.
And we see the Crowstorm coming in here. It's able to pick off the Kaisa here. Another tower going in their favor. 9,000 gold here. And they are looking for more and more and more. Not able to get that last auto onto the Nautilus to keep the fight going on longer. But uh-oh, look who's back. It is Otacon with 3 seconds remaining. And the Mavericks have so much prio here.
This Otacon is basically exactly how they would want him to be. They don't have to worry too much about any sort of contest coming through on this Otacon because they just have so much power. Hawkeye being 8-1 with the Collector is just, and now the Infinity Edge, it is just an absolute cannon. Will be doing so much damage, whereas you look at the side of Kai'Sa, the only thing that Kai'Sa has going for them is the static Shiv. So that just puts Kai'Sa at such a damage deficit in comparison to the Jinx, or not the Jinx, the Jhin, sorry. And so now just like that, this match is very well suited for Maverick Esports.
Yeah, it's sitting in a really good position. All of the vision that they have over in their red side jungle gives them the exact picture that they need to know that what's going on in this game, as they are going to be near Otacon, but still have a lot of split push potential over in the top side. Both teleports are available for the top laners. So once this objective starts, I think that Jamestown is going to be looking to try to catch them out of place here. Not able to get too much value onto the Yone here, but they are waiting for the Mavericks to start the objective to try to swoop in, take the kill, and take the roses that drop.
And I like what Maverick Esports is doing. They're not just trying to prioritize this down. They're not trying to burst it down because they know that this is what Jamestown is hoping that they will do. So they can just keep, and Maverick Esports, they can just continue to keep stalling it out. They don't have to try and push for anything crazy. Stardust Plasma doesn't even have to worry about anything, does so much damage, doesn't get taken down, but the fights happening here gives Maverick Esports the opportunity to do so much. Shishake is going to come in, take down Kai'Sa, and is going to turn right around, dashes away, keeps poking that Nautilus down, and while the Lux is able to do a lot of damage, it still just will not be enough as Yone gets away, but Otacon is going to fall. That play, as much as it might look a little weird, Stardust Plasma getting aggressive on that top side, immediately looking for push to continue to force Jamestown off of that Otacon prevention, allowed Maverick Esports to just push right in, get Otacon, and continue to snowball. Their lead is now sitting at around 10k. Belveth gets a lot of damage off onto that Yone, but Otacon is going to keep Yone alive.
I mean, an incredible macro call from the side of the Mavericks. They see that Stardust makes the call. They are going to try and push and kill the Shen. Gets the kill on the Shen there. Not able to get much else out of it. Witten gets the mid tower there for Shishake, and then goes for the Fate Seal. Is able to take the pick onto the Kai'Sa, and then before they end up dying, I think a minute later, they have the revive buff, so they're not giving that 150 gold shutdown there, as well as the rest of the team taking Otacon when the enemy team, when Jamestown is most distracted. A very great call coming in from the Mavericks, and it's just pushing their gold further and further ahead.
And that's exactly what they need to keep doing. They're sitting at about a 9.4k gold lead right now. So they are in just prime position to continue to keep moving throughout the map. At this moment, University of Jamestown still have yet to take a tower, so Maverick Esports rep just full map control. They can move around however they want. They don't have a lot to be afraid of, because even you look at the KDAs of all of Maverick Esports, they have 5-4 on Gwen, 3-1 on Fiddlesticks, 5-1 on Yone. They just are so fed. They are eating so good right now. And a free Chemtech Drake to put them onto that soul point just is exactly what you would want to see as well. Nautilus is brought a little too far out, and Jhin is going to continue to put more gold in his pockets.
Yeah, Jhin getting another kill there over on to Fire Critter. Lux just has to try and push out these waves. I mean, using that ultimate only to try to kill the minions in front of her is very tough. It makes it a lot harder for them to try to go for these picks. But, I mean, why go for the picks when the enemy team has 5 Guardian Angels, right?
Yeah, you really, I mean, at that point, you really don't need to go, like, going for picks doesn't really make sense because it doesn't really give you anything if you are University of Jamestown. But at the same time, they can't afford to do nothing right now. They're sitting so far on the back foot. They can get a lot of damage off onto Jhin, force the Otacon, but Jhin is still just so strong. Yone is there. Down goes the tier 2 turret. Lux is going to take a lot of damage. Shishake now on a killing spree. Stardust Plasma continues to just make work up in the top lane, forces the rest of University of Jamestown to back away. The inhibitor did come back, but so much damage comes out. The curtain call is going to be finding something. Belveth gets a lot of damage. Jhin not quite able to finish it off. Gwen turns it around and Stardust Plasma wins the fight over Crocodile. That's going to be a 2-0 again. Maverick Esports are continuing to run away. 11,000 gold in the pockets of Maverick Esports.
I mean, it looked like Jamestown there sent the right men in for the wrong job, sending both of their tanks to try to deal with the Gwen, this notorious tank crusher, and as the rest of the team tries to deal with mid lane, getting so much value here, getting the 25-minute Baron right as it spawns. It seems like that was almost choreographed here, coming in from the Mavericks, as well as an immediate teleport in the bot lane to keep the pressure on. Gwen knows that they can deal with multiple targets at once and are going to use that to their advantage. More and more gold is slipping into the pockets of the Mavericks. A 12,500 gold lead.
That Maverick Esports just continue to show their strength, and right now it wouldn't surprise me too much if they were to go for either a 2-4 comp, looking at setting most of the team down that mid lane and keeping the Gwen down bot, or they might, since they do have the inhibitor open on the top side, they really don't need to try and look for a 1-3-1, because as long as they can just break the base and anywhere else, that top inhib will probably just fall again on its own. And immediately we see Jhin getting more damage off, starting to find more power, forcing University of Jamestown back. Maverick Esports are going to start looking for this middle inhib. You can see Gwen kind of hovering around the jungle as well, keeping the minions pushed in their favor, but also not trying to commit too hard, so that way they can be there to aid their friends.
I mean, playing around a character like Fiddlesticks, you're kind of locked into your base. As it looks like the engage, the Dredge line is going to come out here onto the Jhin as more and more action is happening. Yone getting a ton of damage here on to the top side as Gwen is going to come in with the scissors as the Fates unsealed, the sealed. The Shake is going to be able to shake up this team fight here as Mavericks are looking like they want it all.
They're going to be looking to end the game here. Inhibitors are going to be falling. It is up to Fire and Kaisa to keep this one alive, but I don't think they can soak that much up. Fire goes down. There's the ace, and Maverick Esports in a dominant fashion without losing a single turret take map number 2 and the series.
Another incredible showing here from Mavericks. This time, they get straight to work. They dominate the early game, the mid game, and the late game. They have another scaling comp, and they are just able to make the entirety of the game work in their favor. And all of the players on the side of the Mavericks played incredibly well tonight.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, like you said, it was basically textbook, even though it was looking like the level 1 University of Jamestown was trying to do something. It didn't quite pan out the way they wanted it to. And then Maverick Esports just turned around and said, all right, you guys think you can play with fire? Fine. Then you're going to get burned. Hawkeye just took all of that pressure from the level 1 and just ran with it and said, this is where I thrive. Finding so many early items, getting so many kills, and just being a absolute menace for the University of Jamestown and not allowing them to get anything done.
Yeah, I am just blown away by all of the macro decisions made by the Mavericks in that game. Playing with the Fiddlesticks, they have a ton of experience playing with Fiddlesticks. It's not a champion where you are looking to force fights. Fiddlesticks is everywhere with all of your scarecrows, and just being able to place them around and keep their opponents guessing, and just staying in the areas that they least expect, looking for a lot of flank plays, looking for a lot of counter engages. I think that not only did Oni play the Fiddlesticks super well this game, but also the whole team played around having a Fiddlesticks, which is less of a traditional champion to play with. They played around it very well, and it's got to be to do with their communication as a team, which I just wish I could be there to listen.
Honestly, that would be something that I would love. I've loved listening to comms during matches and just hearing the way that the teams are able to dialogue back and forth, and especially with the way that Oni was able to just move around the map as Fiddlesticks, like you said, keeping the enemy guessing, keeping them on their toes, and then all of a sudden, just when they thought they wouldn't have to worry about Fiddlesticks, they had crows in their face, and it was over. They were just on top of everything, I'm sure the comms from the players themselves have got to be feeling not just great about the series win, but that map in particular, where they were able to just take full control thanks to that coordination from Oni and being able to just dictate so much of the map, even if they weren't around where things were happening. Just the fear of the fiddlesticks crippled University of Jamestown from doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah, and watching Stardust on the Gwen tonight, I was blown away. We were talking before matches started, and I was like, oh, what champions do you play? Like, what's your like main role? And he's like, oh, I'm a jungler, and then was talking to me about how he would always be wanting to pick out the Gwen jungle when there was a lot of tank matchups, which happens pretty frequently in NACE. And being able to see it in the top lane tonight, I mean, I would say the traditional role for a Gwen to be, but being able to pivot from playing on an off role into the main role of the champion, it is clear to see how much experience that he has had on the champion. I haven't seen many Gwens that could do what he did.
And he did it so well. And I know for a season opener, Maverick Esports are going to be feeling so good about that matchup. Getting a 2-0 victory right away is exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, I am just blown away, and I am so excited to see the upcoming matches for this team throughout the rest of their spring 2025 season.
It is going to be a absolute banger. I'm also very excited. I'm always absolutely loving to see how one of my favorite things about being a part of like the collegiate scene in this way is you can see, especially if players coming in as a freshman or even just like from the start of the season to the end of the season, you can see them evolve and how they continue to progress. And especially in a game like League of Legends that is always changing so often, you can see players having to shift play styles all the time to match the different metas, match the different teams, match to anything, because even just one patch can completely change the way that the game will be played. And Maverick Esports, I think they just do such an incredible job at being able to support their players in the best way possible. And the players do such a great job at working with each other, building each other up, changing things how they have to, like you talked about Stardust Plasma being a main jungler, now coming out and leading the team from the top lane is showing just this incredible prowess, both in game number 1 and game number 2. Stardust Plasma did so much work in the top lane, even though they were playing off role. And that is just something that I absolutely love about watching how players can adapt to the situations that they're in.
Yeah, and one of the main things is this is week 1 of NACE here for the League of Legends team. It's only going to go up from here. So I'm excited to see what the rest of their matches are going to look like. And with this strong of a game 1, and they only have room to go up. So I'm very excited to see how this team is going to work together in the future, building more and more comps, building more and more strategies. So I am just ecstatic.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Now, do you know if we are doing a interview or not?
We can go ask, but maybe we could head on to a little bit of a break here while we try to figure that out.
All right, yeah. So I think we'll be looking at getting one of the MNSU players in for an interview. And so it is going to be absolutely great. But either way, Maverick Esports are able to grab this series victory 2-0. So we're going to go to a brief break while we try and snag a player in here for an interview. So don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back.
Welcome back. We have pulled one of the players of our team tonight, Oni, as I've been calling you. Oni, how
Yeah,
you doing?
Pretty good. And first off, it's fake Warlordo. So I mean,
Okay,
I just
alright,
have
alright.
that for my like little in-game name, but it's fake Warlordo. So yeah. But I've been doing it really good. I felt that game was just amazing overall. Like I love that whole game. The vibe of the game was just like just have a lot of fun, experiment with some new stuff. It's the first NACE game because we had a bye week last week. So overall, going to this game, I was like super excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good showing from all of the players here. And just talk to me kind of about how first game went. As at least we saw, we had a bit of technical difficulties, I think, on the Riot side. As after the first 2.5 minutes, after Viego went into your jungle, and you and Jinx were very low. Talk to me how you were feeling then. Were you stressed, nervous, or were you just kind of waiting for the 30-minute mark for you to start scaling?
To be honest, like I mean, I've played the game so long, and it's like if I were like if I played the game any less, like I would have been like really stressed out after the Viego stole my buff or my Gromp. But at the end of the day, though, it's like it's not the early game I was playing for; it was more late game. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like one camp that I lost doesn't really impact me at all. Like I just bounce back from that. I invade their side or do anything else around the map to make an impact. So overall, I mean, I was like a little pressured, but it wasn't anything crazy. And I knew that like overall, we're playing for like late game since we had Jinx. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It makes sense. What were your thoughts on specifically? I was really interested in Game 1 draft, dealing with a Mel. I mean, I personally am a little bit scared of that champion, releasing with a 50% win rate and all. But what was your thought process? I thought the Amumu was a really good pick. Like, what was the communication line looking like?
Yeah, so going into draft phase, when they locked in Mel, we completely forgot that Mel was now considered legal inside tournaments. So we were like, shoot, we forgot about that. But when they did pick Mel, we were just like, all right, let's just do champions that go around that. So we picked Salas and Amumu, where if she were to deflect it, she actually goes to them, which is perfect. So it's like if I were to bandage toss or if Salas were to like E to grapple onto the Mel, pretty much she would just come straight to us if she were to ever activate her ability. So it's pretty much unplayable for her. But going into the game, personally, it's Mel's just like every other champion. It's like you have to deal with like every single new release champion. So like why like make it a negative thing? I actually consider it a positive thing because now it's like another champion I get to actually counter. So
Yeah, I mean, getting that experience on the field there, a very good showing in that game, and then over in Game 2, it getting banned, of course. But what were your thoughts on Game 2? You just kind of rode the high of saying, "Oh, hey, this game went really, really well for us," and you just kept it going. Like, what were your thoughts going into Game 2?
yeah, going into the game 2, I really wanted to play my one trick for a while. I mean, Fiddlesticks has been a champion that I've had in my pool for a minute, but it's like I've had a really good time to play it, and it was like this is like the first like match of like the season, I guess. So we were just like, you know what, why not? Let's just play Fiddlesticks, and we'll pair that up with the Jin, which works super well, by the way, because it's like I get my CC off, then Jin gets his CC off from a range, and he's able to just land everything, and from there, it's just kind of checkmate for them.
Yeah, and I guess another question would be, how are you feeling going into the rest of your matches here? I mean, you have so many more matches coming up over the next few weeks. What are you going to have to accomplish? Are there hurdles that you're going to have to jump over? Are there any schools you're looking out for? Any matches coming up that you're excited about?
So currently, right now, we are seeded #1. So it's not like there are any schools that we're really like kind of too worried about. I mean, granted, obviously anything can happen at the end of the day since it's still a tournament and we're still like ranked with our fair rankings. But overall, I'm not really too worried. I'd say the less you stress, the more better you're gonna be playing. Just because it's like why stress about a team that you're not gonna like worry about losing.
Yeah, very, very well said. And I guess as maybe a last question here tonight, do you have any words for the fans at home?
Play Quinn. Quinn, I love Quinn so much. She's like literally the craziest champion of all time.
All right, I think we can leave it at that. Thank you all so much for watching the stream, watching the interview, and being a fan of Mankato Esports. This has been Taunt here with Fake Warlordo, and it's getting pretty late here, so we're gonna be calling the stream to a close. But we have plenty of other streams coming out through the rest of the week, and we'll hope to see you there.
Yep. See you guys later.
Turn our love of gaming into a varsity esports team. In our first year, we earned a national championship and created a fun and friendly community. Be a Maverick. Learn more at MNSU.edu. We're student gamers at Minnesota State Mankato, and we had a big idea. Turn our love of gaming into a varsity esports team. In our first year, we earned a national championship and created a fun and friendly community for both competitive and casual gamers. We're learning broadcasting, digital marketing, and live stream technology, skills that translate to real-world job opportunities. Everyone wins. Be a Maverick. Learn more at MNSU.edu.
Sports without the physical activity. That's kind of how I explain it.
It's just like regular sports, but behind a computer.
I love the idea of esports. I think this has potential to grow and to engage a lot of students.
Gaming with my parents, it did not go over well in the beginning. They saw it more as a distraction from school or from actual sports. It wasn't really until this Mankato esports program came up that they were like, oh wow, this is an actual official thing that schools do. They kind of decided like, okay, let's take this seriously, let's support them.
We would hope every student find something that they are passionate about, that will engage them, put them in community with other students, and let them do things that help them create what it is they want to have for their education.